Good morning and welcome back to International College Video Tutorials, Excel 2013. Okay, today is day 4 on the video tutorials. Okay, um, today we're gonna be concentrating. Okay, we're gonna open a new spreadsheet. We are gonna enter labels, values, create formulas using the click method, and type in the formula directly on Excel. Okay, this is very important. I mean, there's different ways to type in the formulas. Okay, by using the click method or by typing the formula directly into a specific cell. Okay, how to edit the cell entries. Okay, enter and edit a simple formula. Switch worksheet views and choose the print options. Okay. Um, There you go. So we are gonna be working with uh, our student files. Okay. During the webinar, I'm gonna ask you guys are gonna have this folder right here. But during the webinar, I'm gonna ask you guys to come into your file explorer, right click into that particular folder, and then from here, open your Excel 2013 student files. Once we open that folder, okay, right here we are gonna have the Unit A. Okay, and on this unit A we're going to be working on this on EX A1. One click is going to highlight, two clicks is going to open this spreadsheet. Okay, now let's see how many worksheets we have. We have 1, 2 is empty, number 3 is empty. Okay, great. Now, okay, now that our spreadsheet is open, what are we going to do? Remember, we always gonna make a copy, a backup copy. Okay, so we're gonna be using file to open this backstage view, and from here we are gonna be using the save as command. Once we click on the save as command, on the right hand side we see computer, and then there's another column with my recent places. Okay, now we created a folder, okay, on day 1. Okay, that's where we are gonna be putting all our files. Okay, and here's the folder, Excel 2013 files, April 2013. Okay, try to keep that folder all the time. Okay, now here's the other PowerPoints that we have worked recently. Okay, and now I'm gonna change the name to this one. Okay, now this one we're just gonna call it payroll. Okay, payroll table. And again, I'm gonna be using the date. I'm just gonna go by the month. Okay, April 2013. Once I have that, the new file name, I'm gonna click on save, and here we are. Okay. Um. Okay. So right here we have this new spreadsheet. Okay. And this is how we are gonna be working. Okay. We already learned on other sessions, right? How to input or okay or labels. Okay. And how to input our data. Okay. Now right now what I'm doing, I'm just selecting a range. Okay, every time that we select more than one cell, okay, we are gonna refer to that as a range. Okay, right now I have the range selected, name is B5 through F14. Okay, so there you go. So remember, anytime that we select more than one cell, that is gonna be a range. Okay, this is a range H15 through I16. Okay, now this is a small payroll. Okay, this is a company called Specialty Travel. Okay, and this is a payroll for week 32. Okay, so we have a title, and then we have our labels, and then we have another subtitle. Okay, tour guide payroll calculator. Okay, our labels we have name, hours, overtime, hourly rate, regular pay, overtime pay, and gross pay. On the left hand side on this column we have the different employees for this particular company. Okay, now Here's the hours that in this case Peter worked 40 hours. He worked also 4 hours overtime. His hourly rate is $15. Okay, and right here, if you guys click into E5, you guys will see that there's already a formula. Okay, now in this case, this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, I'm just gonna highlight the range. So do I highlight the range? I left click into the first one and then I scroll down to highlight, and now I'm gonna go ahead and delete that particular range. Okay, right here we have the overtime. Okay, if you guys click into one of these cells, you guys are gonna see that the overtime is just gonna appear up here. I'm sorry, the formula. Every time that you guys bring your pointer and click up here into the formula bar, Excel is gonna highlight for us the cells that are being used for this particular formula. Okay. Now this particular formula we have equals C5. What's C5? Okay, that's the 4 hours. Okay. And then we use the parenthesis was used because from there we wanna multiply first. Okay, 2 times D5. So in this case, see, this person, they're paying him double, which is normal in California. That's not the correct overtime pay. Okay, the payment, the rate for overtime in California is time and a half. Okay, well, so anytime that you guys see these formulas, okay, and the parentheses is because first of all, in this case, Excel is gonna complete this formula. It's gonna multiply 2 times D5, and the result of that is gonna be multiplied by C5 by 4, and that's gonna give us the overtime. Okay, now in this case, this formula, see, like I said, is paying double to this person. We're also gonna be changing that. Okay, so basically, this is how you guys will edit formulas. Okay, we click into the cell, we look into the formula bar, we see that there's an error here. Okay, and actually instead of 2, it should be 1.5, 1.5. Okay, now when I hit enter, see the overtime becomes 90. Okay, because that's, if we multiply, okay, if we have $15 an hour and the half of that is 750. Okay, so if we sum, let me see, let me go ahead and do this right here. Okay, so we have 15, okay, dollars an hour. Okay, half of that is 7.50, right? Now if we multiply this using equal, click into one cell, use my denominator plus, and I click into the second one. Okay, into the second cell, see, there's my formula equals I7 plus I8. When I hit enter, that's 22.50. Okay, so this will be the time and a half that this person should be paid, $22.50. Now he works 4 hours, so now I'm gonna type in 4 here, use enter, and then my formula, okay, equals 22.50 times this other cell, I9 times I10, and when I hit enter, see, there's the result, $90. Okay, okay, perfect. Now when I click into this other cell, see, is this cell, the result is 0. When I look into the formula bar, see, there's the formula again. Okay, so again, how can we fix this formula? We click into, you guys could use the arrows on your keyboard to bring the insertion point in place. I'm gonna use backspace. Once I use backspace, I'm gonna type in 1.5 because that's 1.5 and hit enter. Okay, of course, he's gonna get a $0 because he didn't work any overtime. Okay, well, now that we have this, let's go ahead and continue. Okay, so right now I'm just gonna go ahead and select this range starting on F5 through F14, and I'm gonna delete that. Okay, so basically we're gonna be doing 3 formulas. We are gonna create those formulas in different ways. Now let me go ahead and also delete this data here. I'm gonna highlight them, and then on the keyboard I'm gonna use the delete key. A lot of times the delete key is abbreviated DEL. Okay, so there you go. This is our backup copy payroll table. Okay, now Right here we have this person. He worked 40 hours, 4 hours overtime. Hourly rate is $15. Okay, regular pay. Let's go ahead and use the click method. The click method to apply a formula is equals. Okay, now this person worked 40 hours, and then we are gonna be using the asterisk. Okay, the asterisk because we need to multiply 40 times $15, which is the rate. Okay, and then we hit enter. Okay, so Peter worked 40 hours and his regular pay is 600. Now let's find out about the overtime. Okay, that will be equal. Remember, this is a clicking method because once I type in equal, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna click into the particular cell. Okay, now this is gonna be the overtime, so that's C5. Okay, he worked 4 hours. Okay, now in this case, we are gonna be multiplying that. But before we multiply, okay, we are gonna open the parentheses and we are gonna type in 1.5 because that's 1.5. We are gonna be using another asterisk and then we are gonna click into V5. Okay, now before I continue, I'm gonna close my parentheses. Now, here's the formula. So C5, that's 4 hours, okay? We open the parentheses because before we multiply anything, we want to multiply 1.5 times D5, which is 15 hours. I'm sorry, $15 an hour, okay? So we want to find that first. What is the time and a half? Once we have the time and a half, we are going to be multiplying that by C5, okay? Now when we hit enter, okay, we have $90. Okay, now how much is going to be the gross pay? Right, it's just going to be a simple addition equals regular pay plus overtime. Okay, equals C5 plus F5, and then we hit enter. Okay, so the regular pay for Peter is going to be 690 including overtime. Okay, now after that there is going to come the deductions. So this is a simple table. We are not going to be doing the deductions. Okay, now let's go ahead and do this again. So equals, okay, regular pay for Cortona Livia. Okay, so she worked 35 hours and we're gonna be multiplying this times 10. Okay, so notice that I'm using my pointer to click to select the cell and then enter. Okay, so regular pay is 350. Okay, she works no overtime, but still we're gonna create a formula. Okay, so that's 0 hours times parentheses 1.5 times cell D6 and we close the parentheses. When we hit enter, of course it's gonna be 0 because when we click into the formula bar, see, we have a 0, so there's nothing, is empty. Okay, now the result is gonna be equals 350 plus 0. Of course it's gonna be 350 the grand total or gross pay. Okay, now that was the clicking method. Okay, another way to insert the formula is by just typing in. Okay, so we could use equals. In this case, we're working on row number 7 with Klimt Gustav. Okay, so equals. Now, this method is a little more, I found it to be a little bit more difficult. Okay, because first of all, I'm going to have to look for the cell. So in this case, it's B7. I'm going to type in B7. Okay, I'm not clicking into the cell, I'm just typing B7. Now, B7 is going to be multiplied by D7. Right? D7. Okay. Now, when we hit enter, okay, this person, Clem, okay, he worked 40 hours and his rate is 1250. Now, the result of that is $500, okay? When we click into the formula bar, we see the formula, and Excel is going to highlight the cells that we're using for the formula. Simple multiplication, 40 times 12.5. Okay, so that's going to give us 500. Okay, so this is just typing in the formula. Okay, now we have the next one, overtime. Okay, it looks like he works 2 hours. Okay, so we have equals C7 okay, equals C7. Okay, we are gonna be multiplying this, but we need to open the parentheses because first of all, we want to find out what is the half of 1.5, right, times 1250. Okay, and I'm gonna close the parentheses. If I don't close the parentheses, look what's happened. Okay, when I hit enter, Excel is gonna tell me that we found a typo in your formula and try to correct it. Two, and Excel right here is giving me an option. See, it's giving me a suggestion. Okay, basically it's telling me it's adding the closing parentheses. Okay, so if I click on yes, see, Excel is gonna correct that. Okay, Excel is gonna correct this. When I select the cell and I look into the formula bar, see, I see equals C7 times 1.5 times 150. Okay, and if I hit enter, that's the result, $37.50. Now, to get this total, it's equal regular pay plus overtime. Okay, now, but I'm not supposed to use the clicking method. Okay, so that's equals E7. See, I'm typing in the formulas. E7 times, I'm sorry, won't be times, is plus F7. Once we have that, we hit enter, and that's the total for clean. Okay, so this is a clicking method, and I found it to be, in my case, okay, it takes a little bit of extra times, but for other people, okay, other people that will be more comfortable using this method. Okay, now let's go ahead and work on Mary. Okay, equals, okay, regular pay is gonna be B8. I'm gonna type in again the formula. Okay, B8 times D8, and we hit enter, and there's a result for 130. Overtime equals, okay, now his rate is, I'm sorry, no, he didn't work any overtime. Okay, that will be C8. Okay, so C8 times parentheses, because first of all we need to again see to find out what is gonna be the time and a half. Okay, time and a half of $15. So now it's gonna be D8, and we close the parentheses, enter. Okay, so there goes that zero. Now I'm gonna go into the next cell, and I'm gonna be adding equals. We have E8 plus F8, and enter. And of course it's gonna give me 435 because there's no overtime. Okay, now on Excel you guys are gonna see this very often. You guys notice this little green triangle into that particular cell, into this cell, F7. Okay, now when I click into the cell F7, okay, the first thing that you guys are gonna notice is that little green dot. Okay, when we click into it, see, we're gonna have this yellow diamond. Okay, now if we bring a pointer and click right here, Excel is telling me, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different options, but inconsistent formula is the one that is highlighted. Okay, so basically Excel is telling me that this formula is inconsistent. Okay, now I'm gonna check the formula. Okay, when I check my formula, I have C7 is 2 hours overtime times, okay, 1.5 times 1250. So my formula is correct. Okay, my formula is correct. When I click up here, see, my formula is correct as well. Okay, now Excel is gonna do this because when we change the method of typing in the formula, just by typing in the formula, okay, Excel is gonna think that we are omitting one of the cells. Okay, so pretty much, this is one example. Okay, if I start typing into I4, see, and continue to the next, and then the next one, the next one, the next one, and so on. And I'm going down in order. Excel is expect me to do that in order. So sometimes if I type in a formula here, and from here I jump into this other cell, Excel is gonna think that we are probably making a mistake. Okay, so these little dots, okay, I mean they're very useful. In this case, tell me that that's inconsistent formula. I check my formula is okay. Okay, now to move that out of the way, if you guys click on ignore error, I mean there's no error. I know that the formula is right, and I get I get rid of that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and click on save, and there you go. So that's the two methods. Okay, using the clicking method to selecting the cells, and then typing in the formulas. Okay, now another way to type in these formulas. Okay, using the click method, typing the formula directly to Excel. Okay, now we are gonna go ahead and continue, finish this. Okay, now how I'm gonna do that? I'm gonna use, I need to select my cell. Okay, now during the webinar, I'm gonna have you guys do all this, okay, one by one. Okay, now as you guys can see, if we continue working down, this is gonna take a little bit of time, right? Okay, now I wanna introduce you guys the arrow sum. The arrow sum is a great tool. Okay, once we have a formula, okay, I'm gonna be using the I could use the arrow sum to get the totals. Okay, but in this case I wanna use something else, which is the fill handle. Okay, these are two different tools that you guys are gonna use on Excel a lot. As you guys can see how much time it took me to type in these formulas. Okay, now the fill handle is a great tool because basically what the fill handle is gonna allow me to do is to copy the formula. Okay, now how the fill handle works, I'm gonna click into this formula, into that particular cell, and already have a formula, right? There's the formula, VA times DA. Okay, now to save time, I'm gonna bring my pointer into this lower right corner. Okay, this lower right corner looks like a little square, green square. When I place my cursor there, my pointer is gonna change into this little plus sign. When it changes into that little plus sign, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna left click hold it and drag it down all the way to row number 14 because that's where this is how far I wanna go to copy the formula. When I release my left button, there's my formulas. Okay, and to verify, you could double click and there's the formula equals V9 times D9. Perfect. When I double click into the next one, there's my formula. Okay, when I double click into the next one, there's the formula. Now I'm gonna double click over here. Now you guys are gonna encounter this problem a lot. Okay, sometimes we double click into a formula just to see the formula and then we don't know how to exit. Okay, so right here I just make a mess. Anytime that this happen, anything that something like this happen, use the escape key. Escape key. Okay, escape key or ESC. It's always gonna be on your keyboard on the top left corner. Okay, so if I double click here and I don't want to make any changes, to make sure I just click on escape and there it goes. I'm exit the edit mode and I'm gonna change my formula. Okay, now back to the beautiful fill handle. Okay, there's my data, there's my formulas. Okay, now I'm gonna copy the other formula same way. Bring my pointer to the lower right corner, left click, hold it, and drag it down. Okay, of course, the people that have 0 hours overtime is gonna be 0, but who works overtime like Ricardo and Alicia, see they're getting some numbers here. Okay, now let me go ahead and do the other fill handle, drag it down, and there's my formulas. Okay, so that's the fill handle. Now let's go ahead and get another label down here, total. Okay, we want to find out how many hours, okay, during this payroll, okay, these people all together work, okay, how many hours overtime, okay, hourly rate, we're not gonna get it, regular pay, yeah, we want to find out how much it was spent, okay, in this payroll cycle, how much we pay on overtime, and what is gonna be the gross pay for everybody. So that's why we have the new label, total, okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and start using this other, okay, using other formulas. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and type in the formula again. Okay, so equals. When I click, I type in the equals. Okay, and put them Excel into the edit mode. Okay, so there's my equal. Okay, now this time what we wanna do in this case, we wanna add all these numbers. Okay, and again I'm gonna be using the clicking method. Okay, so I'm gonna click on 40 plus next, next, and I'm just gonna continue working my way down. When I select the last cell, okay, I don't need to type in another plus. That's when I'm gonna stop. Okay, so it's equals B5 plus B6 plus B7 plus etc. until I get to B14. Okay, now once I finish in selecting my cells, I'm gonna hit enter, and there's the result. Okay, so that was the clicking method again. Okay, overtime hours. Okay, let's go ahead and get this total. I'm gonna do it exactly the same. Okay, equals, I'm gonna select the first cell plus. Okay, now I'm gonna be adding each single cell and enter. Okay, now you guys are probably gonna say, okay, but I mean, this is gonna be, I mean, a long process. Okay, and this is a very small thing. Okay, now let's go ahead and start importing. Okay, formulas. Okay, I'm gonna use a function here. Okay, the function are the following. Okay, when I start typing in equal, I'm gonna be using the sum function. Okay, so I'm just gonna type in sum. Every time that I type in a function, okay, Excel is just gonna open different functions that are available, and sum is on first place. Okay, now anytime that I use this sum, see, first of all I'm gonna type in my function, and then I'm gonna open my parentheses. Once I open the parentheses, I'm gonna select the cells that I wanna include into my addition. Okay, now look what happened here. Okay, when I left click into D5 and I hold down my button and I drag it all the way down, see, I'm gonna be selecting this particular range, D5 through D14. Now right here, again, I'm gonna close my parentheses and then I'm gonna hit enter, and there's my result. Okay, so in this case we are using the function. So again, we are gonna be adding here. Okay, how this is gonna be done? Equal first, type in the function sum, open your parentheses, we select all the cells that we want to include, we close the parentheses, and then we hit enter, and there's my total for regular pay. Okay, now that was typing in the function. Okay, now another way to get the total, see, I could just go ahead and highlight all my numbers, including the cell where the result is gonna be, and then I'm gonna be using the arrow sum. Okay, so we use the fill handle, and now we're gonna be using the arrow sum. Here's the arrow sum. Okay, now when I click into the down arrow, okay, the first option is gonna be the sum. Okay, we have average, count numbers, maximum value, minimum value, and more functions. Okay, but we are gonna be using sum here because we just wanna add all these particular cells. One click into the arrow sum, and there's my total. Okay, once I have the total, you guys will see that in this case I included, right, F5 all the way through, F15. F15 is empty, but it is included into the formula. Okay, now when I click into the total and I click into the formula bar, see, Excel is highlighting for me all the cells that we use. Okay, so that's the auto sum. Okay, now let's say that I don't want to include this particular cell, F15, because maybe if we input something there, then the result is going to change. Okay, so I'm going to edit this formula. I'm going to click into the formula bar, and then instead of going all the way through 15, I'm just going to go all the way down to F14. Okay, I'm not going to include this particular cell. Okay, why? Because like I said, if somebody puts some data here, that's going to be included into this total, and then we're going to have the grand total. Okay, now if I hit enter, there's my total. Okay, another way to use the auto sum is by selecting the cell, and now right here I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to be using my auto sum. I'm going to click into the drop down arrow and click on sum. Now be careful when you guys are using the auto sum. Be very careful. Okay, why? Because look, Excel is inputting the equals, my function, which is sum, and then is highlighting a range B16 through F16. Okay, anytime that you guys use this method, that you guys just go directly and use the auto sum. Be very careful, because in this case Excel is trying to select the cells to the left hand side. Basically it's trying to use the adjacent cells. Okay, adjacent cells that are right next to that particular cell, and it's using those because the cell is empty. Okay, so Excel is thinking that we probably want to add this. Okay, now we are not gonna be using those cells because it's gonna give me the grand total. Right here we're gonna do the total for the gross pay. See, for column G, gross pay, we're gonna get the total. Okay, so anytime that you guys use this method, notice that B16 through F16 is still highlighted. That means that if I bring my pointer and I click into G5, okay, left click and hold, don't let go, okay, left click, hold, and then I start dragging it down. See, I'm gonna be selecting those particular cells, the cells that I do want to use on my addition here. Okay, now that I have that, I'm just gonna go ahead and hit enter. Enter on my keyboard, and here's my total. Okay, now again I'm gonna click on save. So there's our table. Okay, we have the overtime, the regular pay, overtime pay, the gross pay, and as well we have the total for this particular payroll cycle. Okay, we see the different methods to type in the formula. We type in the formula. We use the click method the click method. Okay, we also use the typing in the function, and we also use the arrow. Okay, well, this is gonna be the exercise on day number 4. Okay, now what's the purpose of creating all this table? Once we have it created, okay, this is gonna be very easy to just copy and paste. Okay, now look, I'm just gonna highlight a range. Okay, I'm starting on A1 through G16. Okay, when you guys select the range, click into the first one, go all the way to the column that you guys are gonna be highlighting. In this case is G, and then just go down all the way down to row number 16 and then release. Now we have all this data selected. Okay, now if you guys notice, we have worksheet number 1 and here's worksheet number 2. Okay, now this belongs to week 32. Now look, once we have this table, I'm gonna go ahead and use my copy command. Once I have my copy command, every time that you guys use copy on Excel, you guys are gonna see these broken wavy lines going around. Basically Excel is just telling me, hey Fredo, you just copy the range. Okay, now from here I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down a little bit. I'm gonna click on A19, and then I'm gonna bring my pointer to paste. Now don't click into the clipboard because it's just gonna use the default settings. Anytime that you guys copy, click into the down arrow. Okay, and as you guys can see, we have about 14 different options to paste. Okay, now normally what I suggest here is that bring your pointer into the first cell, and Excel is going to give us a preview, okay, of what is going to be pasted. In this case here, we only use formulas. We didn't do any format, okay, or anything else. We only use the formulas, right? Now the second option is going to copy the formulas. Next one is formulas and number format, etc, etc, etc. Okay, now in this case I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be using formulas. Okay, once I click there, see I have two tables, week 32 and then another table, week 32. Now to get rid of all these wavy lines, use escape. Okay, escape. Once you guys click on escape, those wavy lines are gonna disappear. Okay, now this table I'm just gonna go ahead and use this for week 33. All I need to do is click into the cell, type in my number to, which is in this case 33. Okay, and then we could start working. Okay, now just to make sure, see, I'm gonna click into the cells and I'm gonna look into the formulas. See, I have all my formulas. I'm gonna click here, the formulas. Okay, there you go. So this is great. Now what's gonna happen? Okay, we are gonna be changing just some data here. Okay, now again I'm gonna select a range. This case the range is B23 through C32. Okay, now why I have that highlighted, the very first cell, it looks like it's not highlighted, but it is included into the range. It's not blue, it's not highlighted in blue because this anything that I type in is gonna go into that particular cell. Okay, and basically this is how the payrolls are gonna be working. I mean, hourly rate is not gonna change every other week, right? Right? This is probably gonna change maybe once a year, maybe twice. It all depends. Okay, but what is gonna be different is probably gonna be, see, the hours and the overtime. Okay, so once I select the range, B23 is not highlighted, but it is included into the selection. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and start inputting the new data. Okay, so I type in 38, hit enter. When I hit enter, see, regular pay, overtime, and gross pay is changed automatically. So that's the beauty of using the formulas. Most of the time, you guys are gonna spend maybe a little bit of time, creating, setting up your table. Once you guys have it, created, it's just gonna be very easy to reuse it, and you guys are gonna be saving so much time. Okay, there you go. So let's go ahead and continue working here. Let's say that this lady also, Olivia, also worked 38 hours. Enter. Okay, if claimed, I don't want to make any changes. I just hit enter and I'm moving to the next cell. Okay, now let's see that this guy worked 32 hours. Martinez Juan worked 40 hours this time, and then Keiko 40 hours. Enter. Okay, Burton maybe went down to 39. Ricardo worked 36 hours. Okay, Alicia worked 40 hours, so we hit enter. And then Yamamoto, he works 40 hours. Okay, so every time we hit enter, see, these numbers are gonna be updated automatically. Okay, now there we go. Okay, so just look and compare one and the other. Okay, just to compare, I'm gonna highlight them. I'm gonna, highlight the cells, and I'm gonna use this fill color. I'm gonna left click, hold, and drag over into the other row, number 34. I'm gonna do the same thing, just to compare one and the other. Okay, so on week 32, see, that was the total hours. Okay, we didn't change the overtime. Okay, let's go ahead and change the overtime just to see that the new information is going to be updated. Okay, so Peter worked this time 3 hours, 2, 6, 4, 2, maybe 1, maybe 0. Okay, 4, 4, and 2 hours. Enter. every time that I input a number and we hit enter, we are gonna be getting the new results. Okay. Now notice the overtime on week 32 was 19 hours. On this week 33, 28 hours. Okay, hourly rate is not gonna change. It's the same. Okay, but then we have the regular pay. It's gonna change. 5,387.50 cents. On this other period, we pay almost 1,000 extra. Just on overtime, another 100 extra. And in grand total, okay, there's a difference. 5,798 and 75 and 6,032. Okay, so if I want to find out, okay, how much was the difference, I'm gonna click into, I'm gonna type in equal, click into the cell, minus this other result. See, and the difference was $233.75. Okay, and again, you guys are gonna see, you guys are gonna notice, okay, that we have this little green dot. When we click, again, Excel says inconsistent formula. My formula is correct. When I click up here, my formula is correct. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and ignore that error. I'm gonna click on save, and there we go. Just like that, we have 2 weeks of payrolls now. Okay, let me go ahead and delete these items here. I'm gonna highlight multiple cells, arrange, and then I'm gonna press delete. Okay, I'm gonna click on save. Now this is very important. Okay, let's go ahead and check the print options. If we click on file and we move down to print, okay, right here we have a preview window. What we see here, that's exactly what we are gonna get. Okay, now from here all I need to do is just click on print. As I click on print, my table is gonna be print out. Okay, there you go. To exit that, I click on file on the back arrow. Anytime that you guys access, okay, your print preview, when you guys come back into your worksheet, you guys are gonna see this broken line. Okay, now if you guys want to be more precise, remember right now we are using this view, normal view. We have this other view with the page layout. Okay, even if I click into the page layout, you guys are gonna see the difference. Okay, so the width of this worksheet is 8.5 inches, the standard size, and the height is 11 inches, 8.5 by 11, standard size for a book, a netbook or workbook. Okay, a lot of people prefer to use this method. Let me go ahead and zoom out. Okay, I'm just gonna zoom out. Let me go ahead and hide. I'm just gonna hide. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm just gonna hide the ribbon and the tab. So there you go. Okay, so from here, see that's another method that you guys can also use to work. I prefer the other method. Okay, and then I check my margins. Right here we see exactly what we are getting into one single page. Okay, now to exit here, I'm gonna come back up here, click into ribbon display. I wanna see my tabs and commands. Okay, and then I'm gonna exit this view. This view, okay, is under the status bar. A lot of times I prefer to use that. To click, to switch my views from here. Okay, another way, if you guys go under the view tab, we have the normal, and here's the page layout. Okay, we have the page break, which I don't see, okay, any use to that. Okay, but there's a difference. Normal. If I want to print that file, print. Here's my preview window. When I see that's exactly what I'm gonna get. If I click on print, I will have this work print out. Okay. Well, make sure you just click on save, close your spreadsheet. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so that will be day 4. Okay, enter labels and values to the arrow zone, edit cell entries. Okay, we type in the formulas on different ways using the typing method, the clicking method, and using a function. Okay, we also saw how to print. Okay, well, thank you very much for your attention, and until next video tutorial. Alfredo Martinez for International College. Goodbye.